What is up, guys? It's Gnomey here for ThisGameNext, and I was hanging around today and I just sort of figured I might do a quick intro to Star Citizen for anyone out there who's a bit confused or wants to know more, wants to know what's going to be wicked about it and why you should get involved. So I thought we'd have a look around my Hangar Module and check out my ships, and I'll tell you guys a bit more about it. So basically, Star Citizen is the next great space epic from Chris Roberts. He's the guy behind Freelancer. And he basically decided after a long hiatus that he wanted to start a new wicked sci-fi game, and he was going to fund all of it through pledges and crowdfunding. So he started off on Kickstarter with a certain amount, they raised that amount, and it's gotten to the point now over the past couple of years where Star Citizen has grown to be worth $40 million. People have pledged $40 million to create Star Citizen, and this so far is the result. They have a very involved development team. If you go on the website robertspaceindustries.com, I'll have the link under this video, you'll see there's heaps of forums, there's heaps of feedback. They do a weekly YouTube episode called Wingman's Hangar where they update everyone on what's going on in development, how it's all going and stuff like that. So they're really sort of clear with people the direction they're taking, and they also take a lot of advice about what people want to see in the game and how they want things to work and stuff like that. So basically it's being released as a modular system. So this obviously is the Hangar Module, which they released a while back just so that people could have a look at their ships that they've pledged for in a hangar. You know, lots of people spend lots of money pledging for the game, and they want to check out the different ships that they've pledged for and stuff like that and have a bit of fun. So it's a really cool idea, I reckon. They're working on the dogfighting module at the moment, and that'll be out soonish. I'm not going to put a date on it because I don't know, but it was delayed, you know, from December. But everyone really was really supportive of that decision, because Chris basically said, I want to get it as perfect as I can before we release it. I'm not going to release a B-grade version of what we want this game to be. So, that said, what do I think makes Star Citizen a no-miss? Well, the first thing is scale. And you can see here, this is my RSI Constellation. This is the first ship I pledged for. It's fucking huge. It's massive. And scale is something that I think has been lacking in lots of sort of space epics. You know, I'm a big fan of Eve, but I felt more of an observer in Eve. Like I was just sort of cruising along behind my ship. I was pressing, you know, F2 to fire my laser, do some damage to this ship. And yeah, it gets more involved with modules and stuff, but you just don't feel like it's epic. You don't feel like it's massive. You're not flying into a huge space station that's got living and breathing people with trade and stuff like that. And that's what Star Citizen's really aiming for. You can see this is just my hangar. This is just where I store my ships, and it's huge. And I've got 4 ships in here. I've got my RSI Constellation, which I'm thinking of using as like a cargo transporter as well as a sort of a long-distance trader and freighter. I've got my Drake Cutlass, which I'm going to be using for piracy, as well as just some sort of fighting and stuff like that. I've got my Origin Jumpworks 300i, which is a smaller ship I'm going to use for sort of long-distance, quick sort of traveling, getting to 2 different points, and it's also not a bad fighter. And then over there I've got my Hornet, my Anvil Aerospace Hornet, which is awesome. That's my fighter. We'll have a look at that in a minute. So anyway, yeah, back to scale. Scale, you know, they're talking about having planets with living communities, and you can fly down through the atmosphere, land on the planet, land at a space, at a port or something like that, and there'll be living and breathing people working there and fixing up their ships, trading, you know, getting missions, all that sort of thing. The fact that it's first person and third person means you have an increased sort of involvement in the game. You feel like you're in it. It's going to have Oculus Rift support, which is also really awesome. And there's also going to be a massive single player called Squadron 42, which is being developed in Britain at the moment, and that's going to lead into the MMO, which will be Star Citizen, which they're going to continue developing down the line. So that's going to be huge as well. Okay, number 2, Realism. They're going for a much more realistic, photo-realistic sort of feel in Star Citizen than what you've seen in lots of other space sims, which is cool. I like that. Let's just head up into our ship here. So you can see there was a little cutscene to get into my ship, which I think is really awesome. It doesn't break up the game by having this annoying load screen to get in your ship and then you appear in your driver's seat. You know, I can head over to my cockpit here, press use, get into my seat, and it'll have a little animation of me getting in my seat here, which is really cool. It adds to the immersiveness and the realism of the game. The other thing that they've added for more realism is modules. So everything you see in your ship, all of these different screens will all be working real time when I'm flying my ship, but every module will feed accurate information to these screens. So if someone destroys a certain sort of engine module, that will change in this screen and will also be reflected in my ship's performance. Meaning you're not just shooting a ship to lower a health bar, you're actually doing damage to certain modules. You can target ships much more accurately, you can know the weaknesses of different modules, and you can have much more fun with your dogfighting and your piracy and that sort of thing. They've introduced G-forces as well as different gravitational features to add to the realism as well. So your thrusters that you use on all your different ships will work to a certain extent depending on the ship's mass, you know, G-forces and stuff like that, in certain areas where there is a gravitational force, obviously not in further space, and that's all going to add to the realism as well. And then obviously the Oculus Rift support I talked about before, going to add to the realism. Alright, number 3, immersiveness. They're talking about the ability, like I said, to fly down through an atmosphere and land on a living, breathing planet full of people. That just makes it a lot more immersive because you feel like you're in a huge space system that's all alive. You're not just floating through a randomly generated piece of black mess going past planets that look pretty, but really you can't do anything to them. You're going to be able to get immersed in the game and feel like it's much more fleshed out, and you can do lots of different things like moving around your ship, and also the ability to board another ship in first person and have a wicked shootout and take their ship from them, which is going to be really, really cool. You know, it's something that everyone wants to do. I want to take a massive ship from someone. I might take your ship. Who knows? Oculus Rift support increases immersiveness, and CIG has also been talking of heaps of different ways for you to gain missions. Apart from the dusty old man gives you a mission, you do your mission, you go back, he gives you a reward. They're talking about much more interesting and involved ways of you getting them, whether it be from over the radio when you enter a certain system, from your, you know, your allegiance, your parent unit or something like that. Whether it be from another ship or even another player, you know, offers you a reward or something to do something for them. So all those things are going to add to the immersiveness of Star Citizen, and the things that tend to lack a lot in MMOs, the originality of how you're going to get your missions and progress through the game and develop your character and your ships and stuff like that. They're talking about having family, so as your character grows old and dies, you know, your son or daughter will take their place and will have different character traits and abilities and stuff like that depending on what your previous character has done. Obviously bounties and everything like that. And yeah. Alright, replayability. So because it's an MMO with a massive single player, the single player is going to lead directly into the MMO, which will mean that you'll have development and stuff like that. You'll know how to play. And you can also play heaps of different ways in the MMO. So there's going to be heaps of different classes and races with a discernible difference between all of them. But there's also going to be grey areas. So, you know, you could be a pirate in the Drake, and then all of a sudden you just happen to take a ship that's got a massive amount of loot on it, but you need to take it really far. So you're going to end up sort of falling into this weird grey area of being like a long distance hauler pirate guy for a while. And maybe you like long distance hauling, so you just end up focusing on long distance hauling. I mean, you're still a pirate, that's still what you've been doing, but you're also now a long distance hauler, and there's going to be lots of abilities and space to change and develop your character that way instead of just staying as a pirate, and you have to be a pirate. All the different ships from the different races are going to have different piloting styles as well. They're going to feel very different and original. You know, you can't just jump in a random ship from another race and it's going to be exactly the same. It's all going to be totally different, which is really cool. It's going to take some learning and stuff like that. And then obviously the visuals, which you guys have been looking at for the past 7 or so minutes. They're pretty awesome. It's built on the CryEngine, so it really looks amazing, and it's going to be promising to deliver amazing visuals when it's finished as well. But the thing is that you're going to get these visuals on a massive scale, so it's going to look wicked, and it's going to really add to all of the points that I've listed previously by giving you such quality visuals. And the last thing, and probably the most important, is the dedication. Chris and his team are really serious about the game. They've stated that so many times, and with 40 million bucks behind them, quite frankly, they have to be. I mean, there's a lot of pressure, especially when you're developing a game from crowdfunding, because your backers are your fans. You have to deliver. I mean, they've used our money to develop this game, and they've won so far. It's fucking awesome. A good example of how dedicated and confident people are is when Chris said in December that they were going to delay dogfighting because they want to get it perfect. Everyone was really supportive of that because they know he's trying to make dogfighting the best he can before they release it. He's not just trying to skimp out or anything. He just doesn't want to release an inferior product, which is a really good point. You know, this is going to be the first fully crowd-funded, massive AAA game, and for that, it has to really be amazing. It has to set a precedent for other games and show the publishers that he can do this, and other people can do this too. So everyone's got behind him. They're all really supportive, and they're all really transparent with the public about what they're doing and how they're going to work it. And everyone's super excited. So with that said, if you guys want to jump on board Star Citizen, as I said, I'll put the link down below, Robert Space Industries, and head to the site. Pledge. You only need to buy one of these ships. Your smallest pledge is like 20 bucks or something like that, which is pretty awesome. And you can do that and get involved. You can be a subscriber and just pay a monthly fee if you like. But any way you support will help, and then you'll be part of the revolutionary Star Citizen, which promises to be an amazing space sim and the first truly epic space sim of the next generation. So that being said, everyone, check out my wicked cool posters. What do you reckon? Pretty awesome. I think they're pretty awesome. Anyways, this is Gnomey. Everyone jump on board Star Citizen. Peace out.